We all have had goals that we wanted to achieve but fell short on achieving them. How many of you currently have a dream that you're thinking about, or you feel is a dream that may not be achievable? By show of hands. And you're putting it off. You're taking your time, it's scary. Okay. What's the story that you're telling yourself about that goal? What's that story? I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of it. Somebody else should be doing that. It's too big. I'm not good enough. But where do those stories come from? A lot of times, the stories are usually, the constraints that we have are usually, and maybe I should turn this around. I want everybody to put their hands out in front of them. One hand, your dominant hand. Bend it at the elbow, lift the finger up, and point it back. A lot of times, the stories that we tell ourselves are all mind, what comes in our mind, the stories we tell ourselves in our minds. They're internal. And the 80-20 rule, constraint analysis talks about the 80-20 rule, follows the 80-20 rule, that 80% of the limitations come from internal, and the other 20 come from external. And that means that we don't really have to worry about that 20%. We do need to focus on that 80%. And a lot of times it's in our mind. And so a lot of times we think that we are in control of our lives, that we're in the driver's seat, moving along, getting to that, thinking that we're gonna head to the destination, but a lot of times we're on autopilot. All the stories that we've been telling ourselves are usually from childhood and circumstances that have happened to us that are now holding us back and keeping us stuck from actually achieving those goals. How do we move from autopilot and move to self-mastery? That's the question for today, and that's the topic of my talk today. Now, I'll give you an analogy. A plane can fly at 40,000 altitude, but it's programmed on autopilot at 20,000 altitude. If that plane were to take off, what altitude would it get to? Can anybody tell me?
20.
Thank you. All right. Now, say for example, when a drift came, and pushed up drift came and moved it upward, and it flew to 25,000 feet. What happens eventually? It gets back to 20 because it's on autopilot. And a downdrift happens, pushes down to 15. What happens? Back to 20. So what needs to happen for that plane to fly at 40,000 feet?
It needs a one.
It needs what?
It needs a human opposite.
Yeah, very much so, you're right. Autoset, reprogramming. Same thing with us. We need to be reprogrammed. Those lies that we've heard, the stories we've told ourselves, the beliefs that we have need to be reprogrammed. And there's good news. We do have a tool. Shazad Shamin created an operating system called positive intelligence. And what that tool is, the beauty of the tool is the simplicity of it all, is that it allows you, it says that our saboteurs live in a primitive side of our brain, the limbic system, and also the brain stem. And in that side of the brain is fight or flight. But the wise one lives on the right part of the brain. And that wise one allows us to come from a place of positive emotions, peace and calm, clear-headed focus, creativity, the big picture. And it operates on the premise that every circumstance is a gift, can be converted to a gift and an opportunity. Every circumstance, every single circumstance. And finally, then you can tap into the sage powers, which is empathy, exploration, navigation, innovation, and activation. My dear fellow Toastmasters, today, are negative emotions good for you? Let's think about it. A hot stove. If you put your hand on a hot stove, what happens? It burns. But what do? Do you leave it on the hot stove? The heat is an indicator, so is our emotions, our negative emotions. They are indicators. We cannot stay and keep our emotions in the negativity, in that negative space. And so yes, they're helpful for a second, but they hurt us if we stay too long in those emotions. And so he provides us some strategies on how to shift quickly, because we're programmed to keep our hands on that hot stove. We're programmed to stay still. And there are 3 strategies. You intercept the saboteur, meaning you want to be aware of who the saboteurs are. Then you strengthen your sage by activating those sage powers. And then, finally, you practice self-command. And what that means is just getting aware of who you are and being grounded. And it just takes 10 seconds to get you there. My dear fellow Toastmasters, to apply the operating system, if you're feeling a negative emotion, stop. You're in saboteur mode. Do some PQ reps. And once you do that, assume the sage perspective. Look at the circumstance and how can I make this into a gift or an opportunity. Finally, generate the gift. Even if you can't find it, generate it. And so with that, I leave you to unmask your own saboteurs, what they are. Feel free to scan this QR code and take the assessment. And I'll be happy to walk you through what the impact is. Thank you.